Happy Saturday, Notre Dame fans. We are here outside of Notre Dame Stadium on April 13th. Beautiful day in South Bend. And right inside that stadium over there, the defense, Fighting Irish defense, won a jersey scrimmage, which is just offense versus defense. That's what Marcus Freeman calls it. For the first time in Marcus Freeman's tenure as the head coach here, which is going on 3 years now. So, Jack, I'm going to throw it to you right off the beginning. A little disclaimer here at the beginning, though. We saw pretty much a full 80-play practice, but we could not take any video of that practice. So what Jack is about to talk about, we don't have footage from that because nobody has footage from that except for the Notre Dame team itself. But if we did have that footage, Jack, what did we see? Because we saw some good plays from that Irish defense.
We would see, Tyler, 2 pick sixes. One from Jaden Mickey off of a Steve Angeli pass. I believe it was a hitch route to Chris Mitchell on the wide side of the field. Angeli threw that late, and when you throw a hitch route late to the wide side of the field, Tyler, that's typically going to happen, is Jaden Mickey taking it the other way. The second pick six was a bit of an errant throw from Kenny Minchie on a little slot short hitch to, I think, Eli Raridan. Xavier Watts was waiting for it right behind Raridan. He caught it, took it the other way. Another pick from Angeli in the red zone. It was a little sprint out, was looking for Jaden Greathouse, more on him in a second. Greathouse in the slot. Angeli threw, did not see Adon Schuler waiting to undercut the route. Schuler picked it off, and I believe that was the last play of practice. So, yeah, defense won the scrimmage. They called it a jersey scrimmage because now the defense gets to wear the blue practice jerseys. And that was the last Notre Dame practice that we're going to see before the blue-gold spring game and until fall camp, I believe. So, yeah, a lot more to talk about from today.
Yeah, I think it was really competitive. And while we're on the topic of the Notre Dame defense, a really good question in the press conference, why is this Notre Dame defense ahead? And Marcus Freeman was pretty adamant that it's because it's year 3 of Al Golden's system. Obviously, Mike Denbrock is here for the first time in a while anyway, implementing his own offense. And the offense had some great plays, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you could really tell, and I'll kick it to you here in a minute, Jack, that this defense just is so fundamentally sound under Al Golden, and that's from the defensive line to the linebackers, who I know you want to talk about a little bit, and then the secondary. Even a undermanned, shorthanded secondary with Benjamin Morrison not playing, obviously. There's only a few healthy cornerbacks on this team, a couple of them making really good plays today, and the safeties obviously as well, but to me, Jack, it just looks like everyone understands this defense, and we saw Howard Cross and Riley Mills in action today, and those guys are just so good. And then the pass rushers, man, Boubacar Traore, the sophomore, was making plays. Bryce Young, the early enrollee freshman, was making plays. Like, it just really feels like anybody that you plug in to this defense, Chance Tucker at cornerback, like, go on down the list, they look solid, and they look like they know what they're doing within this defense.
Yeah, one of the things Marcus Freeman said that stuck out to me after practice was that on third and pass, as coaches like to call it, it doesn't matter who the ones technically are. They're going to throw the 4 best pass rushers out on the field, and Al Golden is going to draw up some crazy stuff. I mean, the defense, like you said, it's year 3 of Al Golden. He's going to draw up whatever he dang well pleases. On third down. He did that last year once everyone kind of realized how good that secondary was. Just left those guys on an island, draw up some crazy stuff on the blitzes. He put Kingston Viliamu Asa on the edge. He put Jalen Steen on the edge. He put Drake Bowen on the edge. I mean, he put Boubacar Traore was working with the ones a lot. Yeah. We saw Bryce Young. We saw every pass rush combination you can pretty much think of for this Notre Dame defense, and it was tough for a relatively inexperienced offensive line to deal with.
Riley Mills came off the edge like it was 2022 or 2021 all over again. So, I think that's the point, is that it's a plug-and-play defense because everybody knows what they're doing at this point. And because of that, you alluded to this, Al Golden can get super creative. Yeah. I mean, the things that he was doing with Jalen Sneed, Jaden Osbury, you mentioned Kingston Viliamu Asa. When I saw him lining up off the edge, and he got home on that play.
And we should talk about Kingston Viliamu Asa because he is a good football player.
Good-looking football player, and he makes plays. It's one thing to – because, and I don't want to knock on anybody here, but Junior Tuihalamaka came in and looked the part, and everyone's like, oh, my gosh, he's going to be really good in year 1. And he's played every single year that he's been at Notre Dame. He's played and been a contributor for this team. By the way, I think he also made some plays in this scrimmage today as well.
I think the first play, Tuihalamaka had a big tackle for loss. He broke through the line.
But Kingston, on the other hand, I actually think that he is going to be a little bit of a difference maker in year 1. And that's partly because the linebacker position is what it is without J.D. Bertrand and Maris Leofau, and you have Jack Kaiser and then kind of everybody else. But I don't know if it. I feel better that it's not that now than I did in March 7th in terms of Jack Kaiser and everybody else. Like, I think Drake Bowen is somebody. I think Kingston Viliamuasa is somebody. Jalen Sneed is somebody. Jaden Osbury has turned into somebody. Preston Zinter made a play today. We're spending all this time talking about the defense, and rightfully so, because all of those guys made plays.
Yeah, for sure. Back to Viliamuasa. I mean, he doesn't look like a freshman out there. He's lining up everywhere. He understands his defense so well. You can tell on the field.
Smart player.
Very smart player. Was making plays in the backfield. Drake Bowen was making some plays in the backfield. Jalen Sneed, like we said, lining up everywhere. He was making plays. Jaden Osbury was. I asked Marcus Freeman about this after practice. He was working with the second team at nickel.
A lot of nickel.
Not just like the traditional rover that Notre Dame used to use. I mean, he's playing. He was warming up with the safeties. And I asked Freeman about that. And he said, spring. This is what spring's about. It's a time for. They need to get Jaden Osbury on the field and keep him there because he's been good. He's been a player that deserves playing time in a really crowded linebacker room. So they're just experimenting with ways to get him out there. And I agree with Freeman. Like, this is what spring is all about. Throwing things against the wall, seeing if they stick. And nickel depth after Clarence Lewis left, not in a great spot behind Jordan Clark right now. And Osbury, we'll see if he can make it work there.
The word that you used for Viliamuasa was smart, and that shows up. But I think he's talented too. And Freeman used the word talented explicitly with Jaden Osbury. That's why he said you can't keep him off the field. He's talented. Let's switch over to the other side of the ball now, because I think somebody who is both talented and smart, and Freeman mentioned the cerebral qualities here. C.J. Carr was the best-looking quarterback that Notre Dame had today. Riley Leonard did not participate in terms of actually being on the field for the 11-on-11. He was on the field, but he was behind the offense, kind of going through mental reps. He would get the play call in, and you could tell, like, okay, he's going to act as if he was playing, but he wasn't playing. So a lot of Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchie, C.J. Carr. All three of those quarterbacks obviously ran all of the 80 plays here today. C.J. Carr, for the ones that he was in for, he looked the best. I'll ask you why, but I'll just say flat out playmaker.
Yeah.
I mean, he got out on the run a little bit, was accurate when he needed to be. He missed some throws. He had some freshman moments, but everybody misses a throw here and there. Nobody completes 100% of their passes in this game. He completed some really good ones today.
Yeah, what stands out about C.J. Carr right now is the pocket mobility and pocket awareness that's really advanced for a freshman. Now, what do I mean by that? There was a play, I'll name two examples. There was a play where Bryce Young, the freshman defensive end, who's a hulking monster, by the way. He's going to be a player. He came in kind of free on a stunt. Would this have been a sack if C.J. Carr was live? We don't know. But the point
Marcus Freeman doesn't know either. He said that in his press conference. It's so subjective. Yeah. If you've ever seen a non-live quarterback situation, you don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're the quarterback, what do you have to do? What Jack is about to say.
So C.J. Carr sees that, and he doesn't panic. He just kind of sidesteps to his left, and because Bryce Young was in there on a stunt, and then there's a defensive tackle, I want to say it was Donovan Heinisch or something. Yeah. He's not as well equipped to contain. So then C.J. Carr, again, very calmly rolls out to his left, throws kind of on the run, but he had a chance to set his feet, finds an open receiver down the field who's very smartly coming back to the ball. I forget exactly who it was. But he was coming back to the ball, accurate throw on the sideline. That's a first down. That's a chunk play.
Cam Williams was the receiver.
Cam Williams was the receiver. There was another one where he was working with some of the first teamers on offense. Edge rushers got behind him. Mm-hmm. He steps up a little bit on the run again, but still calm, still good mechanics. Steps up, gets the ball out, finds Chris Mitchell running over the middle of the field. Chris Mitchell makes the catch in pretty tight coverage. It was a very accurate pass.
There's one spot he could put that ball.
The one spot he could put that ball. But again, the recognition, okay, the defensive ends are screaming around the edge. I got to step up. I'm keeping my eyes downfield. I'm making a play. Really, really impressive stuff from the freshman.
And then, for the most part, he was working with the threes. Jack said toward the end it got a little mix and match, but he made a play to Jack Polian, of all people. Yeah. And the receiver was less consequential than what C.J. Carr did on that play, because it was another one of those situations where he had to improvise a little bit. And Jack Polian was a little bit wide open, but he put the ball in a spot where Jack Polian could run a little bit after the catch. First and goal, is the result of that, and C.J. Carr runs it in for a touchdown on the very next play. So I guess we'll give you all the touchdowns here. You mentioned the pick sixes, correct? Offensively, C.J. Carr scored that rushing touchdown. Kenny Minchey had a rushing touchdown. Those were both red zone situations, I believe, both inside the 5 or 10 yard line, pretty close. And then C.J. Carr made a 20 to 25 yard strike to Cam Williams for the only passing touchdown of the day. So let's
post route.
It's
on a post route, I believe, against Chance Tucker, who had a pretty good day with the second team at corner. But Cam Williams got inside position there. C.J. Carr made a beautiful throw over the middle.
Yeah. So while we're on the topic, we talked about Carr. We talked about, and we'll get to the two other quarterbacks in a minute because I think it was a mixed bag with them. But for a couple minutes here, offensive standouts. I think Cam Williams was one of those. Micah Gilbert is running with the ones. Didn't do a whole lot, but just the fact that he was playing with the ones, I think, is telling. Jaden Greathouse, in terms of wide receivers on that first team, Chris Mitchell had the really good catch, but I believe Jaden Greathouse might have been the only guy today to make consecutive catches on back-to-back plays on two separate instances. And the first of those, I think he took for about 40 to 45 yards. I mean, it was a drive, sustainer, gainer, let's go score a touchdown type. I think the interception, actually, Jaden Mickey's interception came after that. But if you want to just possess the football, keep throwing the ball, get down into scoring position, I think Jaden Greathouse is your guy because he looked good today.
Look, he's a monster out of the slot. And Marcus Freeman said another interesting thing when asked about him afterwards is that, yes, everyone knows his natural position is the slot. That's what he came into Notre Dame as. I believe I would personally say, and I think Notre Dame would agree, that his best position is still the slot. Last year they played him outside at a necessity. This year in the spring, he's kind of turned himself into a guy who can play anywhere, and that echoes what Mike Denbrock said earlier this week. Today he was playing the slot, working a lot against Jordan Clark, who got Greathouse a couple times. That was one of my favorite battles to watch today, Greathouse versus Clark. But Greathouse is just such a smooth route runner. He's faster than you think. He's more agile than you think. He's explosive. He knows how to find gaps in zone covers better than I think anyone on this team right now, which makes him a really good fit as that power slot type. You want an NFL comparison for what I kind of see out of Greathouse? A lot of Keenan Allen type.
Okay, that's good.
It's a lofty comp, but it's that power slot who doesn't necessarily win with speed, not necessarily a deep threat, but just knows how to get himself open, is really hard to guard one-on-one in the slot, and just a really big, smart, strong, savvy route runner. I think that's kind of what I see in him right now.
He was beating a lot of zones today, and then he can run with the football, and like you say, he can break some tackles and stuff too, and not too bad against man coverage as well. Switch over to the running backs here for a minute. It is very much 1A, 1B with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. Obviously, DeBron Payne in the mix. I thought Aeneas Williams had a pretty good day. And Marcus Freeman talked about these guys in the press conference, and I agree with him. Everybody sees it. You're not worried about that group going into College Station because you know whoever you put on the field, you're going to be in good hands. Even with Audric Estime about to hear his name in the NFL draft in a couple of weeks, that position is in good hands. If there was one play that stood out to me today, it was Jeremiah Love absolutely bulldozing Adon Schuler and getting some yards after contact, after he ran him over as well. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say on the running backs.
Yeah, no, I mean, that Love play is what really stood out. I like what I've seen from Aeneas Williams so far. He's got a lot of strength to him, a lot of grittiness.
I feel a bulldog type. Yeah. He's got some Kyron Williams to his game, and I think Notre Dame fans would love to hear that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've liked what I've seen. Really, again, out of all the backs. I forget who, but a reporter pointed this out. Few really good pass protection reps. Jabron Payne had a really nice pass protection rep.
Love had a good one, too.
Yeah, Love had a good one, too. There's some improvement in that area right now, and that's big for third downs coming up.
Yeah, Love's playing very physical, and I think he's trying to take that next step. You could see it from him. Speaking of taking the next step, let's finish with the offense. Tight ends. I thought Cooper Flanagan was the guy today, and that was mostly out of him running with the ones for the most part. Eli Raridan obviously getting in with the ones as well, but he was mostly with the twos, I thought. And if you're looking from a pass-catching standpoint, which after Mitch Evans went down last year, and even in the first couple of games of the season before Evans turned into who he was, not a whole lot from the tight ends. Keep your eye on Cooper Flanagan, man. He's rocking 87 out there. I think he looks really fluid as a runner. Not sure if he has the complete tight end game like you're going to see out of a Michael Mayer and get drafted and go play a long time in the NFL like Notre Dame has had so many at that position do. But if you're looking for while Mitch Evans, who knows what that timetable is. If you're looking for somebody to pick up the slack, I think it might be Cooper Flanagan.
Yeah, it might be him at this point. Eli Raridan's been limited by a minor injury in spring ball. We'll see, what his status is come the fall. But yeah, Flanagan's taken a lot of these first team reps, and we talked to Mike Denbrock last weekend. He's taking advantage of him.
All right, last thing I'll say about the offense, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said about Cooper Flanagan. Saw a lot of 11 personnel, and either the tight end split out wide in the slot, like four wide basically, and really just trying to spread the field out and get the ball out. Quarterbacks, I guess we got to end on the quarterbacks. We have to talk about Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchey. The interceptions that Jack talked about were not good passes, yeah. and that is just fair and square. I thought Kenny Minchey really impressed me with his mobility. Dude can really run. He can get out, and it's impressive because it still looked like he was trying to make a play downfield, and then he's like, all right, if you're going to give me this, I'm just going to take it with my feet. He had a lot of really good gains on the ground. Steve Angeli, I'll let you kind of talk about him because I just thought it was a so-so day for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't really have much to add there with Angeli and Minchey. I think you just about covered it. It was kind of so-so for Angeli. I liked how Minchey, he was again a little so-so as a passer. Both interceptions I think were equally poor throws, poor reads, poor decisions, poor timing too. I think. But Minchey did a nice job. He recognized man coverage, and he's got the legs to kind of destroy that. And I think that's a trait that'll set him apart as he goes through his college career.
Lets the play develop a little bit, and he says, "All right, now is when I go." I think that's smart. It's not just let me take off because I can. It's let me take off because this is the right moment to take off. So, yeah, if I'm rating the quarterbacks today, and it was one practice, it was about 90 minutes. C.J. Carr played the best. Kenny Minchey. And I think Steve Angeli was behind both of those guys. Steve Angeli threw 2 interceptions today. Kenny Minchey 1, C.J. Carr 0. So that's a little longer than we usually go, but we saw more practice than we usually see. So the next time you'll hear from us is right around here, right in there, for April 20th, Blue Gold game that will conclude Notre Dame's spring slate. So until then, I'm Tyler Horka. That's Jack Sobel, and we're with blueandgold.com, Blue and Gold Illustrated.